Hey, 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 Zen friends. Happy Saturday to you. And no, this is not a makeup tutorial. For those of you that pick on me about that, I love it. I love it. But this is a makeup session. I had so many donations last night. I feel so blessed and blown away by your generosity and all your thirst, of course, for searching after spirit. So after 8+ hours last night, with donations. I needed to go rest. I'm recharged this morning, and I'm coming back to finish out all of the free readings that I didn't get to any last night. So we're going to complete them all now. And I will be on this evening as well, because I'm on Wednesday through Sunday night. So I already have the new session for tonight posted. So if you want to get in on that, the chat is available already, and so you can post questions, make donations, and do all that out there as well. And already, I have the link down in the description area of this video at the top where I mention everything I just kind of mentioned now. So if you want to jump over there, you can click on that link and already put your questions in the chat. I love it. We're going to continue to use this beautiful pastel tarots deck. Tarots. I don't know why I said tarots. It's tarot. And we're going to jump in. And again, so grateful for your patience in getting to your readings. I will post a pinned comment after the session is done, listing everything. If you want to know the order, it's actually in last night's pinned comment on the video. It has it listed. And then I will update, of course, a pinned comment on this session after I'm done listing everyone with all the timestamps. You could just click on that and go directly to your reading. It's very fancy. All right. So apologize. I'm not trying to flip you off. I have a little boo-boo on here. Still not completely healed where it looks kind of gross on camera. So I decided to give you a nice blue Band-Aid. All right. So let's jump in, everybody. Thank you again so much for all your love and support. And happy summer winter solstice weekend to you. That is tomorrow. Summer winter begins. All right, let's dive in here. Up first, we do have Mahadev Healing Tarot. Let me grab your timestamp here for the thing afterwards. All right, I'm doing good. I hope you're doing well. And you'd like a general read. So let's see here. You guys get to see my hands because uh, rather than waiting till I look awoken, I'd rather you see the cards and we get busy on your readings here. So we do have these for you, Mahadev. You've first of all, you have the Chariot card. Beautiful, beautiful energy, of course, about the power of choice. You have the Seven of Cups coming in here too. So I feel this is really zeroing in here on your power of emotional choice. Because with the Chariot, it reminds us that every moment we're making a mental choice of our story, emotional choice from our heart of what emotion we want to feel, what physical action we want to take, and also what energy we're putting forward and attracting, right? All of those have a choice of lower vibration, higher vibration, and there's no right or wrong. And I feel like that's what this is kind of bringing in here for you. The Seven of Cups is a variety of emotions, and there's like I said, neither right, neither wrong. They're just different choices with different outcomes and different experiences. So when we're looking at that in our daily life, it's almost like the next 7 days, you have a different emotion that you can feel every day. And that includes lower vibration, anything rooted in fear that it gets expressed as either usually anger or sadness, right? The fear, it's those are the, fear is the ultimate root, but they kind of branch out into either emotions that are attached to sadness, which is our flight of fight or flight, and then also emotions that are rooted in anger, which is our fight of fight or flight. And so when we're in lower vibration, it means we're in fear energy and we can feel those. It takes 90 seconds for an emotion to go through us, unless we try to suppress it or we keep activating the story and then we keep feeling it because it keeps looping, right? But if you sit and be gentle with yourself and allow yourself to feel the emotion and not push it down, that allows you to flow through it. And then you can question and get to the root of what you're fearing when you're in a calm state. As children, we're given, really we have three, we'll do three, three emotions that we express ourselves: joy and happiness, right? Or sadness or anger. Usually one of those is very celebrated or encouraged, which is the happy child. The others crying, and tantrum, angry child, those are like, "You better stop that or I'll spank you or I'll give you something to cry about," right? So we learn to push those emotions down. But I feel like this is telling you from spirit that it's time to feel the feels and be gentle with yourself, even be able to go back with your inner child and those emotions that you weren't able to express when you were younger, that it's okay for you to give them the safe space to act on those, allow them to flow, without hurting yourself or others, please, but allowing yourself to do that. And actually, a podcast I just put out on Thursday was about clearing the emotional pipeline. So if you want to check that out, the link is down in the description area for my playlist for the easier path. That also can help you clear out. It gives you tools and different ways that you can do that. So I love that for you, Mahadev. That is what they have for you. So many blessings to you. Happy Saturday. All right. Excuse me. And then Mini Heal, you are up. Let's grab your timestamp here. And you want to know what obstacles are going to come into your relationship from your future spouse in the future. And it does not bother me at all if you always ask about your future spouse because you're curious about him. And I definitely understand that. And I love that we're able to do that. So please, please. Yeah, I'm so just happy that we can connect with spirit and, get possible outcomes. The future is always fluctuating. So we can, ask about those things. I do encourage all of us to try to focus on today and the now and, you know, 90% on the gratitude for what's happening in this moment and growing that because that helps us raise our love vibration, right? And the best thing we can do in any relationship and anything for our life, because everything in the outside world is a reflection of what's going on in here. The more we raise our love vibration, then we're drawing in more things that match, unconditional love and gratitude and joy and laughter and play and peace, which is the and more enjoyable, I would say, the more comfortable emotions that we can have. But, if we're not, and then 10 to 20% focusing on shadow energy, from the past, so we could do our freedom work and set ourselves free from triggers that keep triggering and taking us into fight or flight, sadness, anger, instead of joy and happiness, right? And then also that allows us to raise our love vibration. And then we're drawing, in people and relationships that match that higher vibration. And it speeds things up. Low vibration, slow. High vibration, fast. So, a little side note there for all of us. Let's take a look here, though. So, based on your current trajectory, what kind of obstacles are in that path? Now, tomorrow, you can make different decisions and go a different route and have different ones. But right now, the obstacle or obstacles that they want you to know, we'll take a look at that. I know there's a lot of explanation for those, right? Like how you guys see how the cards come out. So you have the Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords is a lot of clarity that comes in. And I feel like this has to do with communication. Eight of Pentacles is transformative energy. It's putting in the blood, the sweat, the tears to get the fruit, kind of like the caterpillar going into the cocoon, having transformation to come out the butterfly. So I feel like one of the obstacles is clear communication. And this means like, you know, in our minds, we have expectations around things. We have stories about when this thing out here happens, that's what that means about me and the other person and the world. Small T truths are what the obstacles are. Those are the old stories, the opinions, things we were taught growing up that when someone says that, they're being derogatory. They're being, putting me down. They're judging me. They think I'm stupid or whatever, you know, those lower triggers of emotion in the stories that we have. And I feel like that's the obstacle, and it usually is a lot that happens because when someone says something, we're not, uh, sometimes when we're on autopilot, we're not consciously, reading that person's our spouse's energy. We're not knowing where they're coming from. We're putting a lot of assumptions based on autopilot on, well, in the past, these people meant, "You're stupid," when they said that statement, but that doesn't mean that's what they mean, so it's about being curious about why someone said something instead of jumping to conclusions. So the obstacle is we're not consciously living, we're on autopilot at times because we can't be 100% conscious. Well, we probably could, but it's going to take decades for us to get there because we got a lot of unconditioning to do, right? A lot of triggers that, they said that and we're like, I can't believe you said that. And they're like, what is going on? Because then they get triggered because they're wondering why you're getting so upset. And then that's when fights happen, right? Excuse me. Pardon me. All right. So, yeah, that's the throat chakra, right? Difficult. I don't feel like I can speak my truth because you get upset. That's what causes all those things. So, we can get curious about why someone says something, why someone does something too, and not assume, right, that what they mean is what we have from the past. I like that. They're also reminding me there's that getting curious energy. I had a friend of mine uh, that actually, when I was a manager, that's how they became my friend as I was their manager. And during our one-on-ones, I always talked about more than work with all my reps and direct reports, and they were like, they moved in with their, boyfriend, and I had met him, and I knew who they were, and they knew who I was and everything too, and she was like, "We got in a fight over making a cake," and I'm like, "What? Tell me more." And she was like, "Well, he put the eggs in the batter first before you added the da 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 da." And and she goes, "That's not how you do it." And I'm like, "That's not how you do it and how you've been taught to do it." But maybe he was taught different from his mom. And is there an exactly right way to make a cake? Maybe. There might be ways that make it more puffier, more moist, more a certain way, depending on when you add the ingredients, right? So different outcomes, but it's still cake. It could be, a really dry cake or really, flat cake or whatever by what you're doing. But, you know and that's when I said to her, I was like, "Try something next time. When they're doing something differently than you've been taught, ask them, 'I'm curious, why do you do it that way?' You might learn something, and then you can go, 'Oh, well, that's interesting. I'll have to think about that.'" You know what? And then can I share how I was taught and see if there's anything that you can, learn from how I did it? And she was like, "Huh, I'll have to give that a try." And then like the next couple weeks or whenever I had a next meeting with her, she was like, "Oh my god." She goes, "It was so funny because, of course, like I said, her boyfriend knows me, right?" And, they're married now, by the way, but uh, they were doing something else, and she goes, "That's curious. Why do you do that way?" And she said, "He looked at me and he said, 'You've been talking to Zen, haven't you?'" Because and then they busted up, and to this day, I still am friends with them. This has been, like, probably 30 years, that I've known them, and they, she said, "We still bring that up and laugh." because, they'll be doing something in the kitchen or whatever, and they'll be like, "That's curious. Why are you doing it that way?" And they have it more as a fun little bantering, but it's funny, and I feel like that's the kind of thing that can happen with obstacles too, is instead of jumping to conclusions, you can learn to be curious instead, so I like that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the little story. That's what they got for you, Minnie Hill. Many blessings to you. Happy Saturday. All right. Oops, let me add a little squiggly in here. And we have Ashish Balkaran is up. Let's get your timestamp in there. So, Ashish, hello, hello. What's your most aligned next step for personal growth? Ooh, how fun. You are dedicated to your personal growth. I love that. So, let's see what we got here. So, you do have the Three of Cups and the Death card. Yeah, that's funny. I'm getting laugh laugh in the face of death. And it's not that you're gonna die or anything, but this is the endings and beginnings energy, and I like this. It's like one of the biggest aligned next steps is looking at every moment as, what's the worst that can happen and what's the best that can happen, right? If we focus in on, when we get to the root of what we're afraid of will happen, at the very, very root of all our fears is it's gonna kill me, right? Like, if I'm afraid I get fired from a job, let's say, I'm afraid I'm gonna lose everything. I'm gonna end up living on the streets, or I'm gonna die on the outside of town alone because no one wanted to help me, everyone rejected me, and it's a painful death, right? It's like, wow, okay, that's when we take it down to the very, very depth of things, right? Three of Cups is joy, celebration, also knowing that we're never, ever alone. We got our spiritual posse. We do have tribes around us that we don't realize, but we're never, ever alone. And so dying alone till we're never alone and we're eternal beings. And I feel like it's interesting. An aligned next step has to do with attitude, not about external actions. Because a lot of life, it's not about what we're doing, it's about the energy behind our actions and what we're doing. If it's in fear, we're going to draw in restriction and limitations, and it's going to shrink things. When we're doing things out of joy and from our heart, then that brings in beautiful abundance and growth and movement. So personal growth comes from joy, it shrinks from fear. And it's understanding the why behind why we're doing what we're doing. Are we doing it as an expression of our heart, filling up, knowing we're perfect in this moment, that we don't need to become anything else? And there is this kind of message with personal growth is about, I lost my train of thought. Hold on. So I got a lot of morning cleaning of my own pipes coming in. But personal growth is not about accomplishing things in the outside world. Personal growth is about burning away that which is not the real us. Because we're given a lot of growing up of this is who you have to be, what you have to accomplish, blah, 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 right? All those opinions, expectations. And so we think, "Oh, I gotta become something else to be lovable and acceptable." But a big aha that comes in is that I don't have to do anything the rest of my life, and I'm already perfect because we were perfect. We're these perfect mountains before we come into this world, and then we get a lot of people telling us, that we need to become something else, and you need to do this and do that and blah, 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 which kinda creates blocks and obstacles for seeing clearly who we really are: powerful, eternal, spiritual beings made of unconditional love, right? Our natural state is joy, but we're given all these, this humanity. We're in fight or flight mode of anger and sadness, and we've got all these rules and all this stuff that everyone's telling us To fit in, you gotta be different, you gotta be something other than you are, and then when we start awakening to who we really are, then we start burning away that which is not us. It's not us becoming something more, it's removing the obstacles that we created growing up, that are keeping us from seeing ourselves clearly. And then we're like, "Ah, there's this beautiful clarity that comes in." So I feel like the most aligned next step for your personal growth is understanding your why are you wanting to change, and realize it's not you changing, that it's you removing those ideas and thoughts and beliefs and emotions and energy that do not align with who you really are, and that is what allows you to see more yourself. There's not pressure to become, there's not failure, there's just adventure in removing those obstacles. So hopefully that helps a little bit, but I like it that it's not so much about what we do, but the why and the energy behind it. So powerful. All right. So that's what they have for you, Ashish. Again, hopefully that helps. And many blessings to you. Happy Saturday. All right. And then we've got Leslie up 21, 22. All those twos in there. All right, Leslie. So tell you about this weekend. All right. Let's see here. What do you need to know about this weekend? I don't want any of those. I don't want any of those. Oh, they do want this one. So let's take a look. All right. To look at two major arcana, you got number 5 going to number 6. It's interesting here because I feel like, the Hierophant, they're the master of change. They're the master of stepping stones. And you have relationships here. I don't feel like this is a relationship coming in that's a stepping stone, but kind of this weekend, they're bringing in the summer solstice with this, beginning of birth, and the winter solstice being on the, southern hemisphere is about the ending. So there's like this ending and beginning energy and reflecting upon, like, past relationships. It can even be not just lovers and romantic relationships, but family, friends, those kind of energies, understanding why, um, I wanted to experience these things with other individuals. What gifts were in those past relationships? What did they show me about myself that I wanted to see? See any patterns that are there? I learned the most in my life about relationships when I used to journal, and actually, it was mainly in between relationships I would journal, 'cause I would see the pattern of I'd be all da 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 blah blah blah, and then it would stop. The date would stop, and then, months later, years later, I'd pick up back up journaling and reflect on the relationship, 'cause the you generally went, "I'm so happy, and I'm so, spirit, and going on this adventure, and excited, excited," and then, "Oh, I met someone," and then it goes dark, the journal goes dark, and then it's back up, "Alright, well, that's over," and da 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 da, and it was learning like, wow, I learned I abandoned myself during relationships 'cause the journaling stopped. But I reflected back on all the stuff I said before and after relationships to see the patterns that I would go into and what I would do when I came out of them. And I feel like that's an important energy, is this reflection energy this weekend that tells you about this energy. It's interesting too that there's an between the Hierophant and the Lover's card. Before this is the Emperor card, number 4, which is all about the rules of society, and, the Emperor has to put rules in place. If we're all gonna live around next to each other, we gotta have some, boundaries so we all don't end up killing each other, right? And the Hierophant is all about the rules, about spirituality, and if we're gonna have organized religion, so that we can have rules and really focus in on what we wanna do and what we wanna accomplish together, and again, a lot of people together in a belief, we need to have some, clarity and guidelines, rules and rules. And it's interesting in the journey of, the, major arcana, it's all, our birthing, our development as a child, all the rules we get, but the Lover's card is the energy of the first time that we kind of become rebels because we obey the rules out of praise and punishment, right? But when we fall in love with someone or we love a band or a movie, something becomes so much this emotional energy that it's worth us abandoning our rules and facing the punishment, sneaking out, staying past our curfew because there's someone we love and or they don't want us to see that movie and we sneak out and we go see it anyway, or they don't want us listening to that music or going to that concert, and I'm gonna go stay over at my friend's house, and we're going to a concert instead, right? Breaking the rules because of our passion. So breaking the small t truths of the outside world to live our passion. It's kind of an energy that comes in here too. So nice little extra there, but I feel like that's what they wanted you to know too. Hopefully that resonates. But that's what they got for you, Leslie. I like it. So many blessings to you and happy Saturday to you. All right. And then we got Minu coming in. So Minu, you'd like spirit messages for you. Let's take a look here. All right. Looks like you get 3 for your reading today. We've got the 7 of Cups. We also have the Page of Swords. And we've got the Knight of Cups. Interesting here, in the midst of your little emotional experience, you are getting some clarity here with the Page of Swords. I do feel this is similar to what we had earlier when we got the 7 of Cups, because the Knight of Cups, they're on a quest for self-love for the Ace of Cups. But this is like it's almost like I feel like this Knight of Cups is picking up the Page of Swords and kind of becoming the Knight of Cups and the Knight of Swords, because you're on this quest to understand emotions and whether you know it or not. And the 7 of Cups is about realizing that there's no wrong emotion. And I know we're taught as children, sad emotions are bad. No crying, or I'll give you something to cry about. Angry emotions are bad. You get punished. I'm going to spank you or, beat you if you don't stop that tantrum, right? But happy emotions, you can be that. Be a happy child, not a sad or angry child. But so we're taught to suppress our emotions and taught that they're bad. This is saying it's okay. There's no wrong emotion. There's no right emotion. There's just different emotions with different experiences and different outcomes. And this is a journey. It feels like you're going, because this is like facing backwards, like you're heading backwards into some old emotions that you weren't able to suppress. I mean, you weren't able to feel because you were taught to suppress them. And this Page of Swords is seeing those things, changing the story about the emotions from your past to allow you to feel them and act upon them, purge them, transform them, transmute them, whatever it feels like. Um, I did have a podcast that came out this last Thursday about clearing the pipeline. It's called Freedom Work. And I feel like that'll give you some great more information on all of this too. The list to my, sorry, the link to my playlist is in the description area down below for the easier path. Or if you click on my name, it'll take you to my main YouTube channel and it's listed at the top, the easier path. And it was the most recent one. I think it's episode 18. And I feel like that will help with this journey of releasing some old stuff to open up your emotional pipeline. So I feel like that is what they have for you right now, Minu. So enjoy. And if you have any questions on the podcast, of course, for anyone, but specifically to you, Minu as well, feel free to comment or send me an email. All that is down in the description area as well. All right. So many blessings to you. Happy Saturday to you. And we got Butterfly is up. So Butterfly, you're at 29:29. Look at that timestamp. All right. So I am well. I hope you're well. We had another beautiful session last night. And that's why I'm here today. So you want to know what strengths you have that you're not fully utilizing, please. All right, let's take a look here. So I do feel like we've got this one. That's what I actually want, this one right here. All right. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, you have the 9 of Cups. This is an interesting energy. I like that. And the Lover's card too. I do feel like these are related to one another. So they're going to talk about one huge strength, which is your empathic abilities. I'm actually going to be talking about this in more detail in the next episode of The Easier Path, because it's about what is the true gift of an empath. Now we talk about choice and the power of choice, and this is the power of emotional choice. At every moment, we can consciously choose what emotion we're feeling, either higher vibration, unconditional love, and joy, and laughter, and peace, and play, and that higher vibration, or lower vibration rooted in fear that expresses itself as anger or sadness, right? And so we understand that we can consciously choose, and if we're not consciously choosing, then we are on autopilot and we're unconsciously or subconsciously choosing based on whatever our go-to emotion is around the story that we have around what's going on, right? So we've got stories that from the past that, say when this happens, this is what it means and this is how we feel. The more, of course, our freedom work that we do, the more our um, automatic, uh, autopilot goes to the new habit we form about what something means. So the more shadow work we do, we stop reverting to old emotional reactions, old story reactions to what's going on, and it's replaced with our new. It's still a reaction, but the reaction is higher vibrational instead of lower vibrational. Hopefully, I didn't lose everyone there. But we learn, growing up through habit of this means this, and so that triggers this thought that we've had forever. But when we create a new thought, a higher vibrational thought, and a high vibrational story and emotions, then there's a new groove that is created over time, the new habit that gets deeper than this one. And it then defaults to this other story. And we live in higher vibrational naturally instead of lower vibration naturally, because that's what we learned a lot growing up. So that's the first piece of this, is that's a power we have that can be, you know, underutilized because we don't realize the more we change those things, then the more. But I feel like you've been doing a lot of that work, but there's always more stories. Every time a trigger comes up, we can look into it and transform it, right? But the 9 of Cups is this filling up of your inner love, filling up like a chalice and overflowing that energy to the outside world. And the true gift of an empath is not feeling everyone's feelings. That's a tool we have, but our ability to like radiate higher vibrational energy that changes the emotional weather that we have around us. And when we're, looking at that type of like atmospheric change. Now, that doesn't mean we can take away everyone else's power of emotional choice. Now, we can be the brightest sun, and someone could still be choosing to have a very cloudy day, and that's okay. We're not doing that to control other people's emotions, but we can make it an easier or a harder choice for people to choose lower or higher vibrational, um, you know, actions or whatever choices of mind, emotion, physical actions or whatever by radiating unconditional love. We can walk into a room that feels heavy and down and low vibration, consciously choose to activate this unconditional love inside of us and just, have it blow out into the room. And then, you can see the room change. You can feel, of course, the room change in vibration, which makes it easier for you to choose a higher vibration as well. But you'll see other people start to change too. You'll feel the shift. And some people will still be determined to have a bad day, and that's all right. That's their adventure. That's their choice. That's their power. It's not wrong or right, just different. and different outcome, different experience. And if that's what they want to experience, that's what we came down here to do, experience all sorts of emotions and reflections. But that's a power that you have that maybe you didn't realize you had, or you're not using it as much as you could. And you can do that not just going into a physical room, but like the state of the world. We can be like, oh my God, there's a skirmish and a war happening, like, between countries. And we got a lot of those going on these days. But we can send love to surround a situation, and it'll help people make easier choices of higher vibration. You can even surround a position like a president of a country, or um, dictator, of a country, and go, I feel that position full of unconditional love energy for it to help make higher vibrational choices an easier choice. Doesn't mean they're going to do it, but it can make it an easier, and it can make a difference. So I love that. So that's what they have right now. Hopefully that was helpful for you and whoever else that resonates with. So many blessings, butterfly. Happy Saturday. All right. Then we got Chelsea Libanau. Chelsea. All right. Got your timestamp here. And he wanted to know, will the settlement from the class action lawsuit involving your building be dispersed before September of this year? All right. Based on current energies, what kind of result do we have here? All right, we do have these. So we've got the Chariot and the Nine of Swords. This does talk about possibilities coming in here, because when you're looking at the Nine of Swords, that is about expectations, nightmare and insomnia, but it's about, when we focus in on our expectations, that's what pushes it further away. Chariot card is about action energy, being aware of our power of choice around that, the story we have, the emotions we have, the energy we're investing in our physical actions, right? Are they higher vibrational? Like, I'm grateful for what I do have in this building. What are the things I love about where I live? And even I'm grateful for, we have a court system that's fair. I love, I'm grateful that everything that unfolds is for me. It's this choice here of what we're focusing on will help things come in sooner, or if we're focusing on the supposed to, the should, the need to, what's not happening, that lack energy, it pushes it further away. So I feel like, it's kind of touch and go for September right now, that the more you focus in on the higher vibration, the more likely it is that it will be dispersed before September. um, but it can flip depending on where your focus of your energy is. I feel like they're bringing this in because it's so on the border, going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. There's also, of course, collective energy when it's a lawsuit of a lot of people. It's not just your energy, it's their energy too, right? Now, your experience of it could change, meaning even if the disbursement doesn't happen before September, because everyone else is all about anger and lack and, fear of things not happening, and they got all this other stuff going on in their life, right? Then, um, even if it's not paid out, your change of energy um, will um, it'll still feel like a victory for you, because there's going to be other things that happen because of you surrendering to the universe and focusing on gratitude, that brings other things in for you. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm like, hey, have a building party and go, hey, everybody. Um, Here's a little presentation on manifestation. Let's focus on gratitude, 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 and then we can get we can draw in abundance for us all instead. There you go. You can start a weekly manifestation club. All right, so hopefully that helps, Chels. That's what they have for you, my dear. So many blessings to you. Hi, and then Debbie, oh, 40 even, 4000, and I know you're probably out having your wonderful, uh, healing, emotional healing today, so I'm sending you lots of love right now for your adventure, and, you wanna know whatever comes up for you, so let's see what they have for you right now, and again, thank you so much for all your donations last night, I loved all the messages coming through to prepare you for today, so I love your commitment to this emotional transformation. It's like been a little over a year or more, right? And what a difference. What an adventure. Yep, you got temperance. Oh, I like this for you. Yep, and the death and the rebirth energy. So, two major arcana. The temperance card, of course, is about alchemy. That's you have one of the cups of emotion, right? That you have a base metal in, and you add your magic, and then going back and forth, it's been slowly changing, right? And I mean, this came out as we're talking about. It's been over a year or more that you've been putting a lot of strong effort in transformation. And the temperance card is it's like it is always changing, even though we may not see the magic happening. But, when we have this energy of temperance, it's slow moving, it eventually happens, but it happens out of nowhere. It's like boom, gold happens. And I feel like this is the energy you have today, the culmination of so much that you've been doing and working on. Here's the death and the rebirth. And I feel like you do feel kind of reborn because there's this purging of so many things from the past that you just feel so much lighter. It's like a butterfly coming out of the cocoon. You're like, oh my gosh, it still felt heavy and confined in the cocoon. And because the caterpillar, became caterpillar juice and then it transformed and it's leaving a lot of stuff behind in the cocoon that it's not taking with it. You don't ever see a butterfly carrying other caterpillars. You also don't see them carrying their cocoon around on their back. They're like, I'm done with that. I'm leaving this stuff behind. I'm beginning this new adventure. I can go places I never would have gone before because a butterfly can migrate up to, 1,000 miles and it can go over raging rivers and fly above danger that would normally have eaten them. They were crawling along the ground. So there's so much freedom energy that's coming in here for you. So I like that. Kind of like a kudos of here's the rebirth that's happening because of all the energy that you've been putting in and all that effort and the blood, sweat, and tears you've been doing uh, have been worth it. And here comes the rebirth. So I like that for you, baby. So that's what they got for you right now. Some many blessings. Can't wait to hear about your experience. And a happy Saturday to you. All right. And then we got Lauren Smith coming in. So, Lauren. All right. All right. You said so Phil's sun and moon sign are the same, which means that they were born during a new moon, right? Because when the sun and the moon are in the same sign, they're both on the same side of Earth, so, we don't see the moon, so it's dark, it's the new moon. So they were born around a new moon, just a little bit of extra tidbit, and then you dreamt that he told you his rising sign was also the same sign. Is that true or no? It is possible for that to happen, when you're studying astrology. It's rare, ish, because that means that they were born just before sunrise, because the sun, the moon, and, the where they're positioned, has to be in that specific, everything's so close to, on a birth chart. It's right here on the horizon. The sun, the moon would be right here. And so it's like right before the sun is rising. But let's take a look here and see if it is true and see what we got here. All right, we got these two. So we've got the Queen of Wands and we've got the Hermit energy here. You know, it's interesting. I don't I don't feel like it is here. I know it would be really super cool, but what I'm getting here is the hermit energy, it's like Virgo energy here, and the Queen of Wands, it's almost like this is the sunrise, and it's almost like their rising sign might be Virgo, because I feel like when the sun, like I was saying, when the sun was rising, um, Virgo was what was at on the horizon. So, yeah, I feel like it's more Virgo, unless that's what their sun and moon are, then that would be confirmation, right? But I feel like their rising sign is Virgo, is what they're telling you, and then you can confirm that. But I feel like that's what they're telling you here, um, and you might see it that way because they might look at the world from the through the eyes and lenses of Virgo, which means they're very much about their health, their body, their daily routines, and also there is this tendency to think a lot and analyze stuff a lot, kind of energy. So, if you feel like that kind of, if you don't know what their rising sign is, um, I mean, you, obviously you would know. You wouldn't be asking a question, but if you you know, if you see those kind of things and their sun and moon are also Virgo, you're like, bam, they're going to be like super, super Virgo in every area of their life. Just wow. So I like that. So that's what I got for you, Lauren. Thank you for the question. Many blessings to you and happy Saturday. Right. And then we got Lotus of Serendipity. Grab your timestamp here. So I am doing good. Happy Friday to you. I know this was yesterday. So happy Saturday to you. You'd like a general from Spirit. All right. Let's see what we got here. Let me take a quick sip here. Yum, yum. All right. So a general from Spirit. What do they want you to know right now? All right. We got these two. And you do have the King of Swords and the Sun card coming in here. So the King of Swords, of course, rules over the sword suit. They do, behind the scenes, all kings also have another sword energy. So this is 2 times the mental energy, which makes them the master of the mind and the master storyteller. I do feel here the Sun card comes in with this beautiful bright light to shine a lot of light on your life. And I feel like it's bringing to light, you know, we usually has a little baby, but there's a our inner child is riding the horse, escaping the garden, and it feels like the inner child is bringing in some conflict in a way, bringing in some triggers, bringing in some old stories. And I feel like this is the mental inner child, not the emotional inner child. Emotional inner child develops 7 years old and younger. Mental inner child develops between 7 and 14. So the mental inner child is bringing up some stories that it has of lower vibration, those that are rooted in sadness and anger, you know, and fears, rather than in higher vibration energy. And they're riding toward this king here, riding towards you, who is being gifted this Ace of Swords, the power of changing the story, seeing things from a higher perspective than a lower perspective, right? When we're younger, we're learning, we're growing, we don't understand things. We just create the story. Oh, when they said that, that means this about me. And then we have that story in place. We experience pain. We, as the small inner mental child, creates a whole kind of myriad of complex thoughts and thinking around that to make sure the pain doesn't happen again. Also, pleasure, things that we enjoyed, they'll create all this system of thinking and beliefs to try to make that happen again. So we seek pleasure, try to avoid pain, and the mental inner child creates all this complex thinking and rules to try to, you know, keep pain from happening and have pleasure and things we enjoy happen. But you know, we're not very experienced. I'm not gonna say we're not smart because 'cause we're very smart, but we're not experienced at that age. So we create an odd looking, you know, combination of thoughts and beliefs that aren't necessarily true. They work for us because they keep us safe and alive and keep us happy and have joy coming in. But it's like baby gates. You know, we put up baby gates to keep us as babies from falling down the stairs and breaking our neck and killing ourselves, right? But those same things, those same thoughts and beliefs that kept us safe when we were younger, now as adults, if you keep baby gates up and there's no babies in the house, they become obstacles that can have us trip and fall down the stairs and break our neck as adults, right? They keep us restricted. It's keeping us it trips us up. And there is these it's like your inner mental child is coming to you going, we've been having these it's almost like we've been telling them a story for a very long time. They're like, "I'm ready for new stories. Can we create something that's more fun instead of like the old Grimm's fairy tale that were so grim, they were like haunting. Let's do something like, Cat in the Hat, something more fun, And I feel like that's what's coming in here is they're bringing in this, desire to change some old stories that don't fit anymore. So they'll be bringing up some triggers, bringing up some old stories that you're like, this doesn't feel right anymore because you're, of course, so much wiser than you were between 7 to 14. So I like that. So that's what they got for you, Lotus. Hopefully that helps. And again, many blessings to you. Happy Saturday. Then we got Bonita. Hey, Bonita. Let's grab your timestamp here. So, hello, hello. You want to know what's coming up for you? Let's take a look here. All right. Based on your current energies, we do have these two here. And you have the Three of Swords. Don't worry, this isn't heartbreak and disappointment. This is something unexpected. Yeah, that brings you a power of choice of something in the outside world. So I like this. It does feel, and this can be anything in the physical world. It could be, a choice of job, a choice of location, etc. I'm getting a strong energy here that this is two individual people, though. Could be romantic if you're looking for romance. You might unexpectedly have two people show up instead of just one, and you're like, why can't it be one at a time, right? Why does it have to go from 0 to 2? But this is happening for you in this unexpected energy. One of them is someone that looks good on paper according to your expectations that you have of who someone's supposed to be, should be, needs to be, has to be, and what you feel they'll be able to bring to a relationship and blah, 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 right? So great resume based on what your mind thinks that you should have and are supposed to have and all that, right? Versus when we go and look over at this surprise, the unexpected is someone kind of off list, this long list of who we think we were taught someone's supposed to be. This would be your mind going, here's my choice. This is your heart going, I have a different choice. I really like this person. I'm really drawn to this person. Your mind is going, really? They're so not list material. And the heart goes, I know. And that's why I like them so much is they're so different and unique. And there's these connections and things that are there. Very unexpected attraction to someone because you're like, you're not my normal type. Why am I so drawn to you? Why am I, you know, have this strong pull? And that's like this. You're kind of a little bit of conflict in what decision to make, but we can always keep doing what we've always done and living according to the mind. And then we get, this feeling like we're existing and our heart's not in it versus living because our heart is choosing something that's so different and it feels that way. So I like that. It's coming up and don't worry, there's no wrong choice. If you're like, I'm not really ready for different yet. I want to try another round with this existing um, feeling. of at least my mind is happy and I don't have a lot of fears igniting because your mind will go, "Uh-oh, new, unknown, stranger danger," where your heart is like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, this is adventure, let's go." Your mind's like, "No, I'm here to protect you." So there might be some, nerves about, "Oh gosh, I don't know." And it's like, um, what are we waiting for to live, right? Give it a try. All right. And that can be, if it's not relationship energy you're looking for, that could be with anything, job, location, whatever. But whatever these choices are, that's what they want you to be aware of that's coming up for you. All right, Benita, that's what they have. Many blessings to you. Happy Saturday. All right, Cat Goddess, you are up next here. So, Cat Goddess, you want to know, what does your current and future higher selves want you to know right now in terms of how you could potentially go about manifesting more personal freedom or opportunities in your life that bring in more of that? All right. What a great question. I'm coming to mind I just put out a podcast this last Thursday about clearing the emotional pipeline. And I feel like, because it's called freedom work. When you say personal freedom, immediately I heard freedom work. So if you wanna check that out, it's, of course, a free podcast, and the link to the playlist is down in the description area. Or if you click on my name and go to my main YouTube channel page at the top, is the easier path. It's episode 18 that just came out. All right, let's see here. So what does your current higher self say? All right. And then your future higher self is behind that. All right, let's see what we got here. So, yep, you have the Knight of Swords. So your current higher self says, well, our higher self is always our same higher self, but we're talking about our the relationship that we have of our human self connected to our higher self is what this is. So this is your current human self in connection to your eternal higher self, which is all knowing, right? And then this will be your future self in connection with your higher eternal self, right? Because our higher self doesn't fluctuate in our future. It is perfect already. It's our human character that alters and fluctuates, right? So just, fun extra tidbits. But the Knight of Swords is about the quest of seeing things from a higher perspective. So this is changing our story, realizing your power of that you're the one that defines what something means. In the outside world, things are meaningless. They just are till they get into our noggin. That's how where we kind of put meaning to things. That's where the story creates about what that means about me, about them, or about the world. And if we're not consciously choosing what that means, we're unconsciously reacting to an old story, whatever stories attached, you know, historically and most commonly attached to that story. That's what we automatically apply, and then the emotional soundtrack that goes with it activates, and then energy and action activate behind that. So if we're not consciously choosing the story, then I am reacting. And if I haven't created a new story by telling my brain over and over and over again that when that happens, this higher vibrational thing is what this means. If I don't do that, then the default reaction place is lower vibration, right? So if someone yells and my old story is, oh, that means they're mad at me. That means I did something wrong. I'm unacceptable. I'm rejectable. I'm scared now, right? That's our default growing up because that's what we learn as children. People are angry. Oh, I did something wrong. They yelled at me. No, can't believe you did that. You're going to your room. Bad, bad person, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know that's what we go to, right? But if we learn and grow and we start telling our brain, when people act that way, they're in fear. That's not about me. That's about them. Then when we tell our brain that enough and enough, the new default becomes that new story. So when someone is screaming, we're like, "What's going on with them?" Instead of taking it personally and going, you know, we can still we might have our little activation of that person feels unsafe, I'm stepping back. We can still have our fight or flight survival mode kick in a positive way, but we're not taking it personally that what they're doing is about us. We're like, I'm stepping back because I'm not sure what kind of anger you have, but this is about your anger, not about my worth. And that's the kind of thing that we can do. And I feel like that's like one of the big things you can do is learning in the quest of I have the power to change the story. And the more stories I change over and over and over again, my default reaction becomes higher vibrational instead of what we all have been taught growing up. If we don't do any shadow work, if we don't do any freedom work, then we have a lifetime of reactions into lower vibration. And it's not right or wrong, it's just different outcomes, different experiences, right? And um, one's more enjoyable, one's more comfortable. Lower vibration's uncomfortable because we're not used to feeling that. Because we're higher vibrational beings, our comfort and our norm is higher vibration. We come to Earth to experience lower vibration, and so that's okay. And totally, there's not right or wrong, right? But when we get tired of feeling lower vibration, we're like, I have another choice. So I feel like that's important there. Your future self, yeah, has the King of Pentacles. And they're kind of telling you here that, you know, the King of Pentacles is about one of the big things they learn is when we define ourselves by the outside world, right? The stories of relationships define who I am. Situations like jobs, education, social status, marital status, whatever, define who I am. My body, my bank account, my possessions define, things define who I am. Those three buckets. When we define ourselves by those things, we feel unstable because all those things are unstable. People change, people pass away, people walk away. So when unstable, right? So we define ourselves by those, we feel unstable. Things never, the situations never stay the same. Things break down, deteriorate, blow up, burn down, stolen, all that. Everything in the outside world is fickle, ever changing, temporary, and unstable, right? It all points us back inward to where we find our true worth, which is connected to the higher vibration of the upper world, that eternal, never ending, right? Unconditional, no conditions, not even one. That nothing we have to do to earn that love, nothing we can do to lose it. When that becomes the foundation of our worth, then that changes our life from feeling lacking to feeling above and beyond. We fill up from the inside, then everything from the outside world, we're not looking to define us. It's just above and beyond extra. So the outside world changes from a place of lack to a place of abundance. So I love that. I like these two big things coming in. This is the stories that change. That's what helps you with this in the future, too. So good stuff. Hopefully that helps, Cat Goddess. That is what they got for you, my dear. So many blessings to you and happy Saturday. All right. Then we have Cat Mia in the house. 10334. So Cat Mia, you want to know, is TM 100%? And if yes, can you start doing it in real life too? All right. So is TM 100% one? Right, we got that. And then if you start doing it, or can you start doing it in real life? So first of all, is it? Three of Wands. I feel like they're saying here, because Three of Wands is about, there's usually three ships or it's three different pathways. And I feel like they're saying here, it is one of the ways, one of three ways that you can do it. It's like, here's three wands. Here's one that I can grasp onto that. Can you do it in real life too? You got the high priestess. You know, high priestess is, you know, a lot about spiritual connection and, connecting. She goes into her high priestess temple to connect to the higher world, to look behind the veil, dive into her emotions, to bring secrets from the depths to into the light. And I feel like they're saying here that, yeah, you can do it in real life. It just, in order to do it, you have to be at a certain vibration to bring it and have it come into this physical realm. And so this is about high connection. It's about pocketing yourself away. I feel like it takes a lot of concentration, and what I mean by concentration with quotes is um, a lot of uh, purposeful, intentional focus of the mind on higher vibration. Because as soon as we start going into lower vibration of "Oh, look what I can do." Ego kicks in and it shuts down, right? Because it's always the energy behind it. If I'm doing it from a place of higher vibration, filling up and overflowing, not from a place of putting my worth attached to it, or that's where the ego comes in, right? Or um, have any fears about it not lasting or whatever. It's like, how in all the movies when people are learning their mutant powers, and it's like they're concentrating, and while they're focusing, they're like, wow. And then they start getting excited and look what I can do. And then they fall, right? It shuts down. And it's like, it's about maintaining focus in high vibration is how you're able to bring it in. So hopefully that makes sense. That's what they got for you, though, my dear. So I like it. Many blessings to you and happy Saturday. All right. And then we got AKA. Hey, hey, hey. Thank you for your donations last night. I really appreciate that. And do you want to know, are there any messages that your grandmother Bernice would like to tell you? I like it. Let's take a look here. I have these cards over here. Let me just reach over here and get them here. We've got these Talking to Heaven deck. And she was like, I want one of those. And like, all right, Granny Bernice, we'll give you what you want. Since it's right here. So let's see what message she has here for you. What message? This one right here. All right. So, Granny Bernice, you have nothing to feel guilty about. I like this. Let's see what else comes in here. I don't feel like this has to do with necessarily their death, like not being there or not. Oops, I'm looking at the wrong ones. Y comes after W. Here it goes. So I don't feel like this has to do with, oh, I feel guilty about not being there when you passed, or being able to attend your funeral, or being there as much as I could be. I don't feel like like she's not pointing at guilt with you towards her. I feel like this is more of a sassy kind of energy where she's like, you don't have to feel guilty about nothing around anyone trying to put a guilt trip on you. I just feel like they're kind of, you know, telling you how, like a grandmother would, right? About what an amazing gift you are to the world, and that you don't need to focus on the people who are telling you, who you're not being, and what you didn't do, and how you're falling short, or blah, blah, blah. She kind of says any of that crap. She's funny. I feel like she's maybe a little more sassier now than she was in, her life, because now she's so brave. She goes, I see everything so clearly, and you don't have to worry about all that. I feel like a lot of her life, she felt so much guilt and shame and trying to be what everyone else wanted her to be in her earlier life, especially, that she kind of felt she didn't get to live the life she wanted out of fear of what everyone else would think and disappointing other people. And they're like, I don't want that crap for you. I want you to not feel guilty about anything, and to move forward and do what you want to do. And if people don't like it, that's their problem, not yours. I want to do like a granny voice, but I can't do one. But yeah, I feel like you can put that into perspective there. Let's see what else she has to say too. Oh, I like it. Sweetheart, I see you torturing yourself with what if questions concerning I feel like she doesn't wanna say my life, health, and passing, but about your life and period, that you have what if questions about your life. You wonder whether you could have intervened, so that I'd still be in my physical body, but again, I don't feel like this is the stuff. I feel like she wants to alter. I almost feel like she was an English grammar teacher. That's the attitude she's given me. She's like, "No, we don't want this or this, and I want this, but not that." So she's being choosy about what gets shared in here, which I feel like is very much her personality when she was here. But I feel like this is guilty about the what ifs in your life. She is saying she's standing next to you right now to soothe away these guilty thoughts that you have. And it's so important for you to understand that you have done nothing wrong in your life. I feel like she wants to add in that you've always made the perfect choice in the situation that you're in with what you've known and what energy you were in and what energy was in your environment. Um, Everything is divinely timed. And um, so I like that period, she says. And she goes, "Please don't burden yourself with guilt any longer. Guilt is a complete waste of your earthly time, which is meant to be used in service of love. Guilt doesn't undo anything. I have forgiven myself for everything that I think I did or didn't do. But in the end, I learned that everything's already forgiven." And she wants to add in, and even beyond that, that there is nothing to be forgiven. All the rules in our head, all the shame and guilt that we, declare ourselves guilty of are made up rules of man that aren't true. And so there really is no guilt. It's like she's showing me like a children's court where people are during playtime, they're like, "Hey, let's play court. I'm gonna be the judge. All right, we're gonna be the jury. All right, I'm gonna be the villain. All right, I'm gonna be the prosecutor. All right, and I'm gonna be their lawyer." And they're making all this stuff up and they're like, "Guilty," because that's what they like to play. And then they're like, "All right, that's over. That was fun." There's no true guilt because it's all make believe. I love that. She goes, "I pray that you also forgive yourself, release yourself from your guilt, because you are so very loved and understood." Wow. I love that. All right. So that's what Granny Bernice has for you. So many blessings, AKA, and happy Saturday. All right. Livier Vagara, you are up, my friend. And you want to ask energies for the coming week. All right. Let's take a look here. Let's see what we have here. Energies for the coming week. Let's see, we got that and this. All right, look at this. You got the power of emotional choice coming in. I don't feel like this is relationship energy. It does feel very much about the power of emotional choice. You do have this feeling of abundance with the Queen of Pentacles, but this Mother Nature, Mother Nurture, I do feel like this is a week of nurturing yourself, taking care of you, getting in tune with your heart, and understand. I feel like there is some emotional, I'm not going to call it upheaval, but it's emotional rising that comes for you this week that is bringing some old emotional choices to you. And I feel like this is a very reflective week that, like something happens and an emotion bubbles up rather than, you know, um, pushing it down, feel the emotion. And then after you feel the emotion and we're back into a calm state, of course, it's going to be an emotion of, rooted in fear, either sadness or anger, that we go in and look and go, what is the fear beneath that emotion that just bubbled up? I feel like it's a week of emotional release. And again, there's a lot of this. So maybe that's why it took me a month to do out this last podcast, because maybe it was designed, well, I mean, I'm sure not maybe, it was designed to come out during this important time of emotional release for a lot of us, which that's the freedom work. This is the emotional uh, clearing of your pipeline to allow more to flow. into you and then filling you up and then out into the outside world, which then will start drawing more things to come towards you. So I feel like this is kind of reflecting back on that. So, of course, if you haven't watched that one yet, I definitely feel like that's an important energy that will help you through this next week of kind of emotional reflection. So that is what they have for you, my dear. So that is it. So many blessings to you and happy Saturday. Right, many blessings. All right, and then we got Beatrice, 115 25. Let me get that in here. All right. So Beatrice, I think you had two free questions. Maybe you didn't realize you put one before. You wanted to ask about the medical bills and vacation. And then you also had asked later, what did Trey think when he learned about your tattoo plans? I feel like I'm gonna go with the most recent one. If you wanna do the other one for later tonight, just repost it in the link for tonight's session. But, I feel like the what did Trey think when he learned about your tattoo plans? Because I like the little monkey, covering their mouth like, "Uh-oh." So let's see here. What did Trey think about that? So let's see what their energies are here. Alright. Yeah, I have this energy. I feel like the Lover's card is emotional choice energy, and I feel like the Hermit card is they're like, "That I wouldn't do. That's something I wouldn't do," but I feel like they like it for you. It's funny, there's something about, um and maybe I feel like they're saying at least it's not someone's name you're putting on there, because then you have to get that changed if you end up breaking up with them, right? So I feel like it's funny. They're like, kinda joking that, "Well, at least it's not that," but they're like, "I wouldn't do that for me," but they're like, "But you're not me, and that's your choice." And I feel like they kind of it's not so much that they're, you know, not happy with it, but there's something about they're really consumed with themselves right now with the hermit. So they're not really so invested in what you're doing and not doing with your tattoo as much as kind of, you know, it's bringing up this memory of them going, "Yeah, just don't put someone's name on you." But that's good. In comparison, that's good. But I don't feel like they put a lot of thought into it with all this energy here. I feel like they're really in this kinda cave, focused in on themselves energy here. That's funny. You see these memes where, um, they have someone's name and then someone adds a letter onto the end of it to make it a different word instead of, the person's name. So, that's funny. But hopefully that makes sense. That's what they have for you, Beatrice, right now. So many blessings to you. Happy Saturday to you. All right, and then MM, you are up. We have your timestamp here, and you'd like a general for next week. Let's take a look here. Okay, we got that, and we got that here. Oops. Coffee turned off over there. All right, so you've got, ooh, look at this. You got the Page of Wands and the 10 of Pentacles. So there is this great possibility. 10 of Pentacles is about abundance, fullness of the outside world. The Pentacles is the outside world suit. This can be relationship energy. It feels more abundance, though. Something that you would feel is abundance. And the Page of Wands is telling you that this is the suit of possibilities that depending on what you're putting your energy into depends on how big of an abundance comes in. So I feel like regardless, you have some sort of abundance that's coming into your life next week. But the Page of Wands is if you're focusing on gratitude for what you have had, and with whatever starts trickling in, that you have gratitude for that, that it just grows and grows and more abundance builds throughout the week. If it comes in and you're like, "Oh, that's all," that's lack energy, right? The less than. If you're focusing on, "I need more, I want more, I don't have enough, I fear I won't have enough," then that energy minimizes and keeps the what's coming in as a trickle instead of a big abundance. So really focusing in on what what energies around that is important. If you are looking for abundance, I have also a podcast on my playlist of the Easier Path, Abundance, where it be episode 14, talks about energy and also other blocks that can be removed to help more stuff come in. So if that resonates with you, check that out. Of course, the link is to the playlist is down in the description area or on my main YouTube channel page at the top. It's the Easier Path, episode 14. So I feel like that's their message for you for this next week. I like it. So many blessings and happy Saturday. All right. And then we got Stoned Epiphany 12041. And you want to know, what serious thing do you need to know regarding your partner that you're not aware of at the moment? Why are you being so serious, Stoned? That's what your spiritual team is asking. They're going, why are you being so serious? It's a playground. Why are you being so serious about a playground? But they get it, so they'll go serious for a moment for you because they're generally laughing and having a good time. That's that energy of being on the other side. Um, so let's take a look here. What serious thing? Yeah, we have the star card, which is the dream come true energy. And what is the other one? And the 10 of Pentacles here. What serious thing do you need to know? You know, I feel like in this is as serious, as we can get in this moment, I feel. But they're like everyone has this big dream come true, full of a lot of expectations of supposed to be and should be and need to be and have to be and must be, blah, 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 right? All the stories we're told growing up around here, this is the relationship energy. And of course, because you're talking about partner, and so they have this long list of who you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to bring to the relationship, how a relationship is supposed to start and progress, and how it's supposed to end up, what it's supposed to bring to them, who they're supposed to be in the relationship, and what they're supposed to bring to the relationship. This big long list of expectations, and we all have them in the beginning. And when we do, that's what sucks the life out of relationships. And I do feel here that they are what's serious thing to know is that they don't feel right now that the relationship is matching up to all those expectations, and that they're focusing in on, because when you have this long list, you're going, is that happening? Yeah. Is that? 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 Yeah. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. And then you go, is that? No. Ooh, circle that in red, that they're hyper focused on the few things that are not happening. And that's what happens with expectations is we start focusing not on all the wonderful things that are, we're focusing on the couple things that aren't. And as we focus in on that, those become bigger and bigger and bigger to us. That's what sucks the life out of a relationship. I also feel that they feel that that's what you're doing as well. They don't recognize that they're doing it. They feel like you're focusing on things they're not doing, but they're doing the same thing. They just don't realize the mirror that they're looking into yet. And that's serious because it's like our relationship is seeping energy. And the wonderful thing is that the star card also has like 7 little stars around it, which is like balancing the chakra energy, that there can be a balance that can come in. And the thing that we can do is to focus, we can start changing our focus to go, I'm going to focus on all those things I'm grateful for that are happening in the relationship. I'm going to take my focus off of what's not happening. And then you're going to see a shift in your experience and the energy of what you're contributing into the relationship. And if you start even telling them, babe, what I'm grateful for you today. What? I love how you never, give up on your friends is the one they like to say. You never give up on your friends. And so and so, and you get specific, not just you know what I'm grateful that you're great. That's so empty, right? How a wonderful compliment of gratitude or an expression of gratitude is it's specific, right? I love how you don't give up on your friends and we don't leave it just sitting like that. We give a foundation, kind of like a proof of that. This is the thing that makes me think when your friend, John, you know, was pushing you away because they're going through such a bad time in their life, you wouldn't let them push you away, and you made sure that they were taken care of and that they were cared for. And I feel like you might save their life, and they're like, "What?" You know? And if we tell people that, they are like, "Wow," and then they start to look at what they love about you and the relationship as well. And if it's that, "You know what I love about our relationship? I love this about it. I love this about our relationship," and that can change things. So, I feel like that is what they have for you. So hopefully that'll help things not be so serious. Your spirit guides are funny. All right. So that's what they have for you, my dear. Many blessings to you and happy Saturday. All right. And then we got Maria P in the house. Maria P. Thank you for your donations last night. And general for you for love and for work. So for love, yeah, we got the Six of Cups here. Six of Cups energy. I feel like right now we're going to step away from romantic relationships and we're looking at child love here. Six of Cups is one of the many meanings is so focusing on child energy. And I feel like today's focus is, do you know how much your children love you? And do your children know how much you love them? And do your children know how much you know that they love you? I feel like it's an important energy here. So, sometimes oh, wow, they're showing in my head. There's some videos that are kind of going around on Instagram where there's like, it's usually a mom that the mom is, um, the question came up, do you remember the last time you hugged your child and told them that you love them? And then these videos are like a mom saying, and they're with it's like a teenage child too. They're like, because I don't remember the last time I did that specifically, I'm going to do that right now. And held their child. It's funny. And they do it like they would a little toddler where they hug them and like the child wraps their legs around their mom and everything like they did as a younger child. And for the big ones, they do it sitting down so they don't break the mother's back. But it is that kind of energy. And I feel like that's the energy for today with that is, do you remember the last time you hugged your child like a real embrace and told them that you love them and gave them that love energy? Wow, I'm gonna cry. So I love that for you. All right, let's move on to work. Three of Cups. Yeah, we've got joy, celebration energy for work. This does feel like tribal energy. All this love energy for you here. I feel like it's important for this next week um, to go in with this celebration, this gratitude. Maybe even bring bagels, bring donuts, bring a cake, bring cupcakes, you know, something to say, hey, tribe, we're awesome, something like that to express the group energy together. I feel like that's important for next week. So I like that. That's what they got for you, my dear. So many blessings to you and happy Saturday. All right. And then we got Blueberry. Hey, Blueberry. Look, I'm even wearing a blue Band-Aid for you. So Blueberry, you were at, oops, 129.29. Wow, I'm not even typing good here. There we go. And you'd like a general reading. I'm just gonna take a quick sip here. I do not have blueberry coffee, but I thought about it. All right. So what do they want you to know this week? See, that's how it happens sometimes. Cards come flying out of the deck. Wow, I got the Justice card coming in here. Beautiful energy, along with the Knight of Wands energy here too. I like this. I feel like, the Justice card, she has this Ace of Swords that the scales are balanced on here. And this is about your, uh, you've been seeking clarity. And I feel like this, she does rule, the Libra does rule over the house of partnerships. And I do feel like you've been really thinking about what it is you do want in a relationship and what you don't want in a relationship as well. And so I like this energy of clarity coming in and that blocks are being removed because of your um removal of a mindset of it needs to be this type of person. This is how this has to go. This is who I have to be. This is what has to happen first. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever those blocks are, this movement and removal of this as you're doing this, and I feel like it's very soon because I feel like you're in the midst of doing that and you're going to be doing some big thinking over this next week that there is a significant removal of a story you have around relationships, that you have this great release that comes and that this energy comes flooding in. Knight of Wands, it's like a new passion comes in. Um, Out of nowhere, just zoom comes in. Now, if you're in a relationship, that can mean heightened passion that gets ignited within your own relationship. If you're not in a relationship, this means someone, a fiery knight appears in your life because it's something, uh, because of something that you release of your mind. So it's mindset that an expectation, a restrictive thought and belief that you release that allows that to happen. So, ooh la la, I love that. So, I'm not getting any idea of what that is yet here. It can be a little bit about expressing passions that come in as well, and we could be suppressing and restricting some of our expression because of that. Something that oh no, I can't go do that. It's like, yep, I can go do that. And in doing that, that's what allows you to meet someone because they're out expressing their passion in the same way. So hopefully that makes sense to you. That's what they have for you, Blueberry. So many blessings to you and happy Saturday to you. All right. And then we have Alexander, 13309 is yours. So, day before yesterday, since now we're a day later, so you had sent Jenny, a numerology report and a few videos you made for her. So, what's her thought about you? All right. Let's see what her energy is today. Let's take one card for how did she feel when she received it? And then I feel like one is how's she feeling today? So when she received it, yeah, 8 of Pentacles. I love this. This is like transformation and doing the work, putting in that. And I feel like they're telling me here, she does one of her um, love languages is acts of service, gifts. And I feel like they appreciate all the effort that you put in. And when they got it, they were like, wow, wow, what? And it kind of made him I'm getting this feeling of sitting in her energy from 2 days ago that it's like this it challenged her sense of worth in a way. She was very happy to receive it, but this like, "Oh, you shouldn't have. Oh, no. Oh," that kind of how we deflect gifts and when people wanna do things for us because I feel like she's a big overgiver kind of energy, where when someone gives something to her, it makes her uncomfortable a little bit because it freaks her out, right? Because she goes, if you don't need me, I'm worthless. So that kind of is an undertow. Just understand if the reaction that came in felt like a little, not ungrateful, but kind of deflecting like that, that's why, right? And then today, yeah, they're sitting in this wonderful, because they got over this, feeling bad about, receiving, and they're like, "Holy crap, I love this stuff," because I feel like they're really reading it, they're watching the videos, and it's shining a bright light. One thing with the Sun card, it's shining a bright light into areas of their life, giving them great understanding, and I feel like they're just glowing with this, feeling very full and very grateful today. So I feel like you're gonna get responses from her as she's watching and reading the things, because now that it's the weekend, I feel like she has the time, and she's gonna be taking the time to kinda watch them, and I feel like you're gonna get a big, bright response from her, so I like that. That's what she thinks about you here. You're a bright ray of sunshine, bringing, a warmth into her life, and again, appreciative of the energy and that you know, you're such a hard worker, you're such a big giver, and, I like that. Um, Something that they wanna add in here too is, and I don't feel like this is from her, I feel like this is for you to know, overgivers, when they meet other overgivers, if we don't work on our, like, our this, imbalanced rate of exchange that our inner child has, where we feel like we have to give so much to deserve so little, that, you know, when we have codependent tendencies because of our overgiverness. Usually, when we go in as two adults, the overgiver becomes the parent, and then the undergiver becomes the child, right? And I feel like she's used to being the overgiver, and you might be used to being the overgiver too. When you both come into an overgiver, it's like it almost becomes starts to being a challenge of who's gonna. I'm the overgiver. No, I'm the overgiver. Once we deal with our, the underpinning rate of exchange and get it from being 1,000 to 1, where we feel we have to give 1,000 love coins to deserve 1, and we bring it down to 1 and 1, then we can be in this wonderful, equally giving, relationship. Otherwise, like, if you feel you have to give 1,000 coins before you deserve 1, and someone gives you 1,000 coins, that means you have to give how much? 1,000,000, right? That's what how and that's from her standpoint. If you give all this, and she's like, I have to give 1,000 coins for every 1 coin you give, and you give 1,000, that's 1,000 thousands, which is 6 zeros, right? Which is 1,000,000, right? So it's like, "Oh my god." So it's understanding that, both for yourself and for them too, right? All right. Now that we're done with group therapy, we'll move on. But that's what they have for you, Alexander. So, many blessings to you and happy Saturday. All right. And then we have Ravit. You are up 138.40 is for yours. And you want to know what's coming next in your love life. Is it truly good for you, or is someone new meant for your life? All right, we'll take a look here. So I think you were asking, is it someone already in your life or someone new entering your life? All right, let's take a look here. So what's coming next? Oh, in your love life. So if you have someone that's in your love life now, are they truly good for you? Like, that's that one. And is there someone new coming? Or is there someone new coming? So first of all, okay, no, this is your love life. So you got the Queen of Pentacles. Your love life energy right now, there's a lot of, you know, the I don't feel like abundance energy. I feel like there's a lot of, necessity here to focus in on. nurturing yourself. It's Mother Nature, Mother Nurture. A lot of this is turning inward for your and focusing on your self-love. And that's important because every relationship in the outside world is a reflection of our self-love. We can't love someone else or receive love from someone else more than to the extent we love ourselves. So the more that we raise our own love vibration, the more love we can give and receive to those humans in our world, whether romantic or friends or family or whatever. So it's all of that. So every relationship is good for us because it all points us back to ourselves in some way. Everyone is a mirror reflecting back to us what we want to see about ourselves. So truly good, every relationship is. Now, I feel like we're talking about, is the relationship a truly loving relationship? Well, it's currently reflecting your self-love. So I feel like that's why spirit is pointing you inward to raise your love vibration, because that's going to be something where you feel truly good in the relationship, and truly feeling fulfilled. A relationship feels unfulfilled until we are fulfilled from the inside out, because we can't be filled from the outside in. The love we're looking for is us. We're the love of the life we're looking for. Once we fill up inward and fill up in overflow, then that is where the outside love becomes, it's above and beyond extra, and we feel like, love is overflowing, right? So I feel like that's the important kind of energy around love life. What's coming next is a lot of awareness around your self-love, and that's where the attention is most productive for you. Now, is your true love, I mean, your current relationship, is that the one that's kind of going to last for you, or is there something else, right? Yeah, well, again, Ace of Cups. So they're pointing you back to your self-love, and we've got the World card. So I do feel like as you focus in on the self-love, that your current relationship, you're evolving, they're not. And then the World card is the last card in the major arcana, which is a victory of reaching the ending of a cycle, allowing you to begin a new adventure that comes in. So, I feel here that um, your current one kind of fizzles out, and then because you're raising your love vibration, you're going to draw in someone with a higher love, and it's going to be a different, higher vibrational type of love than you've had in the past. So hopefully that helps. I know we went deep on that one, but that's what they got for you, Ravit. So many blessings to you and happy Saturday to you. All right. And then we got Plate of Spaghetti, 14304. And you want to know, will you marry Jackson? All right. Based on current energy, will you marry Jackson? So we got this and we got this. I also want to give you this extra one here. Let's see what this is about. So we got the Queen of Cups. You got the Six of Wands. Underneath, we do have the Devil card. I feel here, we even got the Chariot card on the bottom of the deck, which is the power of choice and movement energy. And I feel like below the surface, in this lifetime, you don't have like a faded, like there's someone that you're absolutely going to marry that's, crossed your entire path. I talk more about that in my podcast, Faded Love. If you're interested, you can check out my free podcast. I dive more in talking about all that map if you're interested in all that, the details of that. Excuse me. But I do feel here that they're telling you that there's choices that you make. Like if you make these choices, you end up with this person. These choices, you end up with them kind of energy. And I feel like where you're at here with the 6 of Wands, there is a possibility of that, but I know, but we like big buts. Uh, but B-U-T, the Queen of Cups talks about there is some emotional, transformation because she's the master of emotion. There is some of this that, kinda needs to change in that, and transition before we could get to that point. And the Devil card too is about the shaking and the rattling of our mental cage about what needs to be released so that we can, you know, um, be able to move beyond these. It's like there's mental blocks and emotional blockages that keep us from getting there. And as we look in at like, what are these emotions that no longer serve me that are ready to go, right? And thoughts and beliefs that did protect me when I was younger, but I don't need these anymore. I feel like you have some release that you're doing. And of course, they have release to do too. We all have emotional and mental blocks that form when we're growing up, that keep us safe when we're younger, keep us, surviving with the tribe, but later become obstacles. Like I was talking about earlier, it's like baby gates. We put up baby gates to keep us safe so we don't break our neck falling down the stairs. But when we get older, if we're not a baby anymore, we don't need those baby gates. I know with me, people that had like dog gates and baby gates in their houses, I would trip and almost break my neck falling down the stairs because you have to open the gate and close the gate or step over the gate. And it's like, so it's time to remove some of these emotional and mental gates that will help you flow and move to a victory, which both of these are movement, night energy that comes in. So I like that for you. So hopefully that helps. I do feel like there's possibilities and just a little bit of, you know, um, freedom work. If you're checking out that other podcast, the one I just put out is called Freedom Work, the kind of clearing the emotional pipeline. So some of those things might help if you are interested. So all that is free. Link is down in the description area. So that's what they got for you, spaghetti. So many blessings to you and happy Saturday. All right. Alexis, you are up. Oh, it's funny. Your name sounds a lot like a certain thing that's on the wall where if you say its name, you can ask things of it. I saw it just activate out of the corner of my eye. So, you would like a reading on if there's any messages from your mom and your sister who have passed. Oh, yeah, I like it that we've got this talking to heaven deck here, and I feel like they're going to bring in a message. We'll do one for each here. I feel like they don't want to be separate. I mean, they do want to be separate. They're like, I don't want to have the same message as my mother. So here's mom and here's your sister. So mom says, if I had only known then what I know now, I would have lived differently. So let's take a look here. Let me see where the ifs are. Maybe those are after here. Okay, these are interesting how they have them here so you guys can see. It's I feel. Okay, here we go. So she said, while living on the earth, if I had realized just how creative and powerful my thoughts were and their effect on another person, I would have been so much more aware of what I put out. Of course, I have regrets, but now I also realize that these were merely opportunities to grow. We never stop learning here on that other side or on earth. My deepest wish is that from my words, you learn to treat another person as you would yourself. Let go of the old earthly patterns of judgment and fear and make an effort to bring love to everything and everyone who walks upon your path. That way, when you come here, you'll have no room for regrets. I promise. I like that. I feel like she's saying, some of the things I said and didn't say, I wish I would have done differently now that I see how they impacted you. And I feel like she's talking about a lot about your inner thoughts, your self-talk, and that she goes, that self-talk, a lot of that self-talk is in my voice, and that's what I regret is that you know, the things that I said are echoing in your mind, and I want to work, and I can do this from the other side. I can work to help change those thoughts. In fact, I often touch thoughts in your brain, trying to bring back the memories of the good things I said that I feel supported you, and I touch happy memories of other things to try to bring in happy thoughts to help counterbalance, some of the lower vibrational thoughts and things that I did in your life. So I love that for you. She is, of course, with you. She's always been with you since she went to the other side, as your sister is too. And they will be with you every second until you go to the other side at your appointed time. So I like that from mom. That's a mom thing to say, right? And then your sister says, although you may not understand it now, everything happens for a reason. And I like this. This is the pieces of the puzzle coming together. I almost feel like twinsy energy here for some reason. And maybe you guys did lot of things alike, or maybe you were twins, but I like this kind of energy that's coming in. But she's saying there is a divine order behind everything that happens, including the time of my passing. I realized that you weren't ready to let me go, and in many ways, I wasn't ready either. Since my passing, I've received spiritual counseling to help me see the bigger picture of my life and my death. I now understand that I had to leave the way that I did. It was part of my soul contract and yours as well, meaning we know fully well before we came down here when I was going to go and do it. And we all knew it, just we forget it when we're down here. And I remember now why we chose that I would go when I did and that I would take that exit point at that point in my life. And for mom too, because had we stayed around, you would not have become as strong and as independent and as free as you are now. Because I feel like the thing, because of Mama Thumb and Sister Thumb, we're trying to keep you in a place of being who we wanted you to be, and now you are able to be who you want to be, and we celebrate that. I like this, everything happens for a reason. She says, I now see that everything in this universe is mathematically precise. There are no accidents. At some level, your soul knew that I would leave before you did. We've both been preparing for this transition since the beginning of our relationship, right? Since birth. I am grateful for all the beautiful moments we shared together, along with the lessons I learned from the difficult times. It's all divinely perfect. And I like that too, this kind of combo of, you know, everything that happened is for our growth always. And so I love that. So hopefully that helps. That's what they have for you, my dear. So many blessings to you and happy Saturday. All right. Andrea, 54 Hector, you are up. Whoops, that's not right. Oh, it must have been 29. I was like, you can't be that. I'm in the future. All right. So, Andrea, you want to know what's the current energy from DP, your first love, first boyfriend, um, with you? All right. And he continues to tell your mom that he never stopped loving you. Aw. Yeah, it makes sense here. You know, the Queen of Swords is an energy of what a beautiful balance between head and heart. And there is this energy of um, perfect counterpart, you know, that they look at you as someone who would be so compatible that they do compare everyone to you because they feel like you are everything that I could ever want kind of energy that comes in. So it makes sense that he continues to tell your mom. I never stopped loving her. And but the thing is with the 3 of swords, this is the fear that I would disappoint you, that I wouldn't be enough for you. You know, they bring in this example Spirit gave me that makes so much sense for me. I learn a lot from stories, and in this kind of situation, they would see you as like a five-fingered glove, and but they're only a three-fingered hand. So when you put that five-fingered glove on, you perfectly cover them, but there's these 2, like, these are empty, so they're flopping around, right? So they're like, "Yeah, you are so much for me and more." You got even room for growth if they decide to grow 2 more fingers here, right? But they see it as, they can fulfill this much, but then this is they disappoint you, that you're settling, that sure, you're filling them up, but they feel from their point of view that they'd be letting you down, that, and they kind of have you that you're on a higher level than them and that you deserve so much more than that they can give you. So they're kind of focused in on their faults and focusing on all your amazingness, and that gap in between is what, created the insecurities, created the a lot of, things that may have happened in your life and why you guys aren't together now. So that's the energy that's coming in there for you right now. Hopefully that helps, my dear. And you might reflect on that and go, maybe they are right. What are the things that you feel that they're not able to give to you? Are they not able to show emotion, um, you know, to you? They have love for you, but are they never able to show it and communicate it? You know, why aren't they telling you and your mom, you know? "Grow up, little boy, talk to her." Talk to you, right? Not your mom. All right. But that's what they have for you, my dear. Hopefully that helps. Many blessings to you. Happy Saturday. All right, and then we got Sarah Taylor, Sarah. Did you like the camel with lipstick? That's the makeup session. You're so you crack me up. All right, and then let's see here. Will Ted reach out for respite care? Okay, based on their current energies, will they reach out? All right, I think with this one too. All right, we got 3 of Cups, which is reaching out for assistance, and the King of Pentacles. Yeah, I do feel like they will here because I feel like this is reaching out for the tribe, and it is joyful energy, and the King of Pentacles is abundance energy. So I do feel like with this that they will reach out, um, for assistance. And I also feel like they're going to reach out. It's like there's one thing they're reaching out for, another thing they're reaching out for, and another thing they're reaching out for. I like this. I kind of feel like something has changed. The resistance to asking for help, I feel has transformed. I feel like they're saying, "You know what? I'd rather get help and feel really good than not reach out for help out of guilt and not feeling like I'm worthy of it and feeling pain and suffering." I feel like, at some point, the fear we have of what people will think and what it means about me, when our fear outweighs the ugly feeling that we're feeling or physical pain or whatever it may be, we don't act because the fear is greater. But when this grows to some point, then we're like, "Whoopsh, forget it. I am acting on things." And that's kind of where I feel like is going on with them here is they've reached a point of I'm sick and tired of feeling the way I am and I'm ready for change. I'm going to do what it takes to feel better. So I like it. So that's what they have for you, my dear. So many blessings. Happy Saturday to you. All right. And then Jojo, you're up 159.05. Yeah, and like I said, I think YouTube did delete like 2 or 3 hours when I was out for my walk. In fact, after I finish this, I'm going to go for my walk, and I'm like, I hope everything gets captured again. But yeah, it's everything happens for a reason. But I'm glad we were able to catch yours. And you wanted to know what's going on with O in you. So based on current energies, what is happening? All right, we got those two. All right, that's what they want. So let's take a look here. What is happening? You got the Eight of Wands. Yeah, there's a lot of energy. What is this about? Yeah, the Hierophant. There is this, you know, Hierophant is the master of the stepping stone, that the master of change and growth energy too. And this Eight of Wands is like there's this fiery energy that's igniting between the two of you. And it almost feels like there's some stuck emotion um, between the two of you in your pipeline and their pipeline. And the Eight of Wands is like there's this increase of turning up the water pressure that is pushing, it's like there's so much energetic pressure that's being pushed through both of you to clear out some of these things that I feel like you're feeling the pipe shake. And I do feel like there's this undertow of some old emotions that are bubbling up for you to look at. And there's stuff bubbling up for them to look at, but it's for change. It isn't meant to like bring you guys together or back together. There's this energy of it's designed to help you clear your pipeline to have other things flow through it. And I feel like that's what's happening right now is this energy is it's supposed to be independent. You might have some connections or whatever here and there, but it's designed to ignite to be able to see this about yourself to clear those things up. So I feel like that is a big thing of what's coming in here, and that's what's going on. If you're wondering, why am I dreaming or having these emotions or these thoughts that are popping up, and why do I keep bumping into them? It's all for the sake of growth, right? Growing pains, because there's no comfort in the growth zone and there's no growth in the comfort zone. So there's a little bit of discomfort I feel coming in here, little irritation, energetic irritation, right? And there's no cream for that. You have to go through it. In fact, my most recent podcast episode I just put out a couple days ago is freedom work and the emotional pipeline. And I kind of feel like that's what they're bringing in here for you. So that's what they have for you, my dear. And glad I was able to get this one in here. At least one person's that got deleted. And of course, we'll be back tonight. So thank you guys so much for all your love, all your support, all the thumbs up, and for your patience in getting to your free readings. I do feel so blessed. And I'm excited to be on this adventure together. And I'll be back tonight in about 4 hours. So I'm going to go for a walk and come back and be ready to get more tea with spirit. So until I see you guys again, remember every second of every day of your life, you are eternally and unconditionally loved by the Mother and the Father of all things, our Creator. And of course, I love you too. So many blessings, my friends. I love you guys. We'll see you soon.